Conduction, radiation, convection, where have you heard that before? Probably on this channel or when people talk about building shelters or sleeping comfortable in cold weather. For me as a survival instructor here in the Northeast, it seems like anytime we talk about any type of survival issue or shelter issue or sleeping issue, it always drifts towards that cold climate. How do you actually stay warm? But what about in the summer when it's hot? So that's what we're gonna look at today, how we can use conduction, radiation, and convection to our advantage in the summertime, and what kind of things I carry in the summer to keep myself cool when I'm sleeping. I mean, I'm cool on a normal basis, like cool dude. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. So conduction, radiation, convection, heat loss, heat gain mechanisms, but how can they help us in the summertime? Well, let's compare and contrast a little bit in case you just don't even know at all what I'm talking about. So let's start with convection. Typically when we think about convection, we're thinking about wind, and we utilize our shelters to block that wind, especially in a cold environment. But now let's jump ahead to the summertime. Wind can be our best friend. A nice cool breeze makes a world of difference. So when we're setting up our shelter, being able to angle that thing in a direction that we catch some of the wind. Now, I would never suggest to totally face it into the wind, because normally the way the wind's blowing is also the way that any type of storm is going to come in. So you don't want to catch yourself in a situation where it's a nice cool breeze blowing directly into your shelter, and the next thing you know, it turns into a thunderstorm and the rain is just pouring inside. But instead of turning the backside of your shelter into the wind, we can angle it that we get a cross breeze. That itself is going to cool you down and keep you comfortable throughout the evening. But better than even adjusting our shelter in a specific direction, we can get up off the ground and use my favorite summertime sleep system. A hammock, super comfortable. The wind blows underneath. Bug net, it's great. See you later. I'm gonna just take a nap in here. Hammocks, as you know, in cold weather, freeze you to death unless you have a good underquilt underneath them. But in the summertime when it's hot and you're sweating anyway, that breeze and that air underneath you is going to cool you down. So utilizing a hammock in warm weather is definitely something you need to think about. Radiation. Now, radiant heat from a campfire keeps us warm during the day while we're at camp, and then that long fire out in front of our shelter keeps us warm in the evening. But I know a lot of people feel as if they need that campfire for a security type reason in the summer months, and that is going to just destroy you. It's going to keep you way too warm, and it's going to keep you way too uncomfortable. Also, limiting your time around the campfire throughout the day is going to be a huge bonus. Think about, rather than boiling, maybe carrying a water purifier. Also, cooking foods that are going to cook quicker, that you don't have to slave over that campfire all day. And even think when you build the fire itself, you just need something small to get the job done, and then maybe even let it go out. And then finally is conduction. So conduction, we normally look at sleeping on the ground and getting something between us and the ground. Now, I'm not talking about a moisture barrier. What I'm talking about is something like a foam or inflatable mat, or in our case is Bushcrafters debris bed or tick mattress. The reason for that in cold weather is because the ground mass is greater than our mass. So the ground mass is going to draw the heat out of us and cool us down. If you've ever slept with just a wool blanket on a cold floor in the forest in the wintertime, you know really quickly how cold it gets, even if you have the best wool blanket in the entire world. But as soon as you put something between you and the ground, it's a game changer. Now, put that in perspective in the summer months. We're hot, we're sweaty, the ground mass is bigger than us. Laying on the ground throughout the evening without anything underneath us is gonna help cool us down and keep us comfortable. Now, yes, it might be an uncomfortable sleep, but you don't have to build a big, thick mattress. You can clear the stones, clear the sticks, and just nestle away on that ground and keep yourself cool. It's like a cooling mat underneath you. Nature's cooling mat. I love it. All right, so now that we did that rundown, I want to go over what I actually carry in my kit, because this past weekend at a class that I had, people were like, "Where's that? Your only backpack? Is that just instructor gear? Like, where's your sleep gear?" I'm like, "It's inside my backpack. I don't need a lot in summer." So you all know, if you're following my channel for a while, I love my Filson backpack, and you could see to my size, it's really not that big of a pack at all. And literally my summer sleep gear is inside this thing. plus I have a little bit of extra room. So I'm gonna show you this. Now, the thing is that I have maybe 3 different things that I consistently rotate through here for summer sleeping. So I'm just gonna show you all of them, but they're all about the same size and they all fit in there depending on what I'm gonna be using. So let's start with that whole conduction thing of laying on the ground, allowing the ground to cool us off. One thing that you need to keep in mind with that though is you don't want to just lay directly on the ground, because the ground does get wet throughout the night, so dew and moisture comes up through the ground. So you do want some type of moisture barrier between you and the ground. That is not going to affect the ground cooling you down. A moisture barrier also is not going to protect you in the winter from, like, it's not going to keep you more warm, okay? But we do want to get a moisture barrier between us and the ground. So for me, just tucked away in the back, what I carry is just my gum blanket. So I can throw my gum blanket down on the ground, sleep on top of that thing, moisture barrier, and the ground's going to keep me cool. Again, that nature's cooling mat. I love that phrase. But I do also want to carry something along to be able to cover me up throughout the night. I don't want to just lay on the ground like this, because it can get just a little cool in the morning. So depending on what the temperature range is, I carry one of 2 different blankets. The first one being a Poncho Liner. So this is just a military Poncho Liner right here. Okay, it's a quilted synthetic liner. This thing will keep me really, really warm. This teams up really well with my hammock also. It's lightweight, it's super packable, and it is nice and cozy during this time of the year. The polyester material that's on the outside also stays quite cool, so you're not gonna be sweating like if you had a wool blanket. Now I will swap this thing out if it's gonna be like super, super, super hot and I know I'm gonna just be an absolute mess, or I want something a little bit more traditional, and that is a canvas cotton sheet, okay? So this is a canvas cotton sheet that I use all the time. It's about 7 foot by 6 foot. Now these have grommets on one side, right here, okay? Because this gives you the availability to be able to hang this up very easily in the summer months while you're not around camp throughout the day, to air it out, just in case you were sweating all night so the thing doesn't get all stinky and stuff. But these cotton canvas sheets, they work really well. They're real lightweight and they're super comfortable. So either one of these with a gum blanket work really, really well for ground sleeping. They keep me super comfortable and I'm not sweating to death all night. Now my other option, if it's hot and super buggy out, is to take my hammock along. My hammock has a bug net. This is a Dutchware Chameleon hammock. So this thing, as you see, it's about the same size as the blanket that I carry along. So this teamed up with either one of the blankets works really well in warm weather. So just think of all those different options that I have right here between ground camping, hammock camping, and 2 different sleep options for blankets. Ton of different stuff for the summertime, but this is stuff I have been using in the summer months for a few years now, and I really like it. Now sometimes I'll take a wool blanket, but majority of the time it's just so hot with that blanket around that it stinks to have it. So carrying something more lightweight, something more seasonal is gonna help us out that much more. And one last thing, I am carrying a tarp through all of this. And I know I said before I'm gonna be releasing a new survival shelter. We got hung up a little bit time with that production of that, but it's coming. That's what I'm carrying. So it literally, it's in there. It's like you don't even know it's in there. Wait till you guys see it. You're gonna love it. But all right, back to the video. So moral of this whole video is that we need to take conduction, radiation, and convection in our thoughts when camping in the summer, winter, spring, or fall, because they play a role in all those different environments, and the sooner we realize that, the more comfortable we're going to be able to sleep. So if it's staying warm or staying cool, you can get the job done. Now, if you like any of this gear, I do have this stuff on our website, so you can go check out that stuff, but I really suggest, even if you're like, I'm not doing that, just rethink your sleep gear for the summer months, especially if it's super hot, super humid out in your environment. It's gonna make a world of difference for you, I guarantee it, and then have your winter sleep gear. Rotating through has been a game changer for me. So, this was Dan Woak of Coalcracker Bushcraft. I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, check us out at coalcrackerbushcraft.com, and until the next video, stay in the woods.